Welcome to the Prodigal and the Priest podcast, a podcast about faith, sports, and two friends from different cultures. Here are your hosts, Joey Scansella and Father Paul Bechter.
Hello, everybody. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. I'm still not very good at that. So, welcome to the Prodigal Priest and Me, a podcast about faith, sports. Okay, you already heard that because it's in the intro. And today we are not joined by Joey Scansella, who is still taking care of his newborn baby.
Yes.
And we are instead joined by Marci Combo.
Upgrade. It's an
Upgrade. Very good. You're adding Joey? Is that what you're doing right now?
Yeah. Oh, well, kind of, yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. But I will. At Joey Scansella, this is an upgrade. I am an upgrade. There, I added him.
And Marci, what again is your title here? I know that it's like direct.
I'm coordinator of digital media, maybe.
Okay.
Social media. I think it's digital media. We landed on
Digital media.
Yeah.
You do a lot of stuff with communications.
Yes.
Still involved in youth ministry.
Yeah.
All the things.
All the things. We just hired someone, Andrea Terrell, and so I'm training. I'm doing a lot of walking with her. It's the year starting. It's crazy to abandon her, so I'm still kind of in youth ministry. Eventually will be just communication.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Good for me to know also, because I always forget
you're
your
my
new title.
Direct supervisor.
I always forget your title. It's like something with,
Yeah, something in there. Speaking of forgetting things.
Yes, speaking of forgetting things, after spending like a solid 30 minutes last podcast on like detachment and humility, and you got to be okay with messing up because it teaches you to be free and stuff. Mm-hmm. We only have one set of headphones because I forgot where the other ones are and stuff. So I hit the outro music. With our cool guitar riff and everything. We're wrapping up the podcast, and Marci can't hear it because she doesn't have headphones. And so she was like, so yeah, what about the three things? And I was like, Marci, we're doing the outro right now.
We're ending it.
We are ending. I do not know what three things you're talking about. I actually thought you were reminding me to play the outro music, and I was like, oh, it's going. It is playing right now.
Yeah, no, just reminding him like the shtick they have, the three things: what you watching, what you're reading, what you're thinking. Is that the order or what you're reading? Yeah, reading, watching,
I don't
thinking?
know the order.
Yeah, anyway, I was trying to be cool and it didn't work. Anyway, humility.
Yeah.
So what you watching, reading, thinking. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah. Why don't you ask the question and go first?
Okay,
because I don't know.
Okay. Wait, remind me.
What you watching, Marci?
Yeah, but do we do them one by one? Like I say watching, you say watching, I say reading, you say reading, or you do all three?
We can kind of do whatever we want.
We can do whatever. Joey's not here. No rules.
No rules.
Okay. What am I watching? I kind of said it last time, and it's still the truth. Me and my husband are watching Seinfeld.
Oh.
And we are trying. We started this like before the pandemic, and we're last season though for sure, but this is where we're kind of like crawling along. Not saying that it's bad, but I feel like I just want to finish it because it's a
lot of seasons.
It is so many seasons. Not even so many seasons. It's so many episodes per season. So it's like we watched it like through July, and I feel like we're on season 2. But
wasn't it for a long time like the longest running sitcom?
No, that's not true.
It was never that.
I know. Well, I don't know if it ever.
I thought it was. That was its thing. We're going out on top.
Oh.
Like,
well, I thought it was 7 seasons, but it could be 8 seasons. But Friends is 10. So those are the 2 sitcoms I know of that Friends still beat it.
There's probably others now, right? I don't watch.
Probably.
No.
Big Bang Theory definitely hit 10. I'm not sitcom savvy.
I don't know if I'm not either.
You haven't seen Big Bang Theory?
I don't think I've ever seen an episode of Big Bang
I think
Theory.
you would like it because they're super smart.
Well, people are always like, oh, you studied physics. This show's about physics.
Oh, yeah.
And they're probably right, but for some reason I was just like,
Oh, yeah. My husband Jordan doesn't like it either. Good company. He hates it because I liked it. Yeah, and we never watch it because of him. It's a good, like, silly, mindless sitcom. But I've heard, I have no idea, I'm not smart enough, that the physics are, like, accurate. Like, they... So anyway, you should check it out.
Who knows?
Okay,
and
then watching, reading. Oh, wait, no, you do your watching. What are you watching?
What am I watching? The Stars Lose.
Yeah,
just on
sports.
Loop over and over ever since.
Just to suffer.
No, so I mean, last week I was on silent retreat, so I wasn't watching anything.
Oh yeah.
And then this weekend I did watch some football. That was nice. It's nice to watch football. Mm-hmm. I watched some of the Monday night game, KC in Baltimore. That was kind of fun, but I was mainly watching the Stars lose. A little bit of basketball here and there. Although I'm losing interest the further along it gets, which doesn't make sense, except that I hate the Lakers and I feel like they're destined to win. And then the Heat are like spunky, cool team. I'm impressed that you know that, actually.
Thanks. And
not trying to be patronizing, but I kind of was.
Well, thank you. I just learned that also at lunch. I ate lunch with my communication team of 3 men, so we could all like get to know each other, and we talked about sports. So I also, a hot take is that, you know, it would be so much more interesting if it was like 2 classic teams like the Lakers and the Celtics in the finals. That's someone else's opinion, but it sounds cool.
Where are the Heat from?
Miami.
Very good.
And LeBron took his talents to Miami.
Oh, you remembered the decision.
I did. And then he ditched them. I don't know if that's the next step, but to the Lakers, right?
Yeah, not straight from there.
Oh, he went somewhere else?
He went back to Cleveland.
Oh, I didn't know that. And this is his 9th?
I think it's his 10th.
10th.
Yeah.
I don't like LeBron. I have nothing.
Huh.
I don't know a ton about sports, clearly. But obviously I'm on this podcast, so I know now.
No, I mean, actually, you're doing
great.
Very
good,
well right
good.
now.
It was from the lunch. But I just get a bad vibe. I just don't like him. There's no other thoughts. And since I watched the entire series of The Last Song, I like Michael Jordan. And they were talking about how LeBron is a better athlete than Michael Jordan. And I was very offended.
The Last Dance?
Oh, Last Dance, not song.
Sorry, that makes sense. You're doing so great. Just like totally in it, hitting your stride, changing gears. You're like, let me shift topics over to the
I killed it and then I lost it. I think the last song is
and I think everything you said about it was actually like very accurate and stuff.
That I love Michael Jordan. That's it. I love him. And people tried to argue that LeBron was the GOAT. I have no argument against that, but I was very offended because I like Michael Jordan now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, good. Yes.
Great.
So that's what you're watching. What are you reading? Oh, wait, no, do I answer?
Yeah, you answer.
Yeah, because you probably have like a long list. I'm reading, I'm doing a Bible study right now. St. Anne's did it with a bunch of ladies, and I'm doing it with some friends because we missed the sign up. But it's a Walking with Purpose Bible study called Fearless and Free.
Oh.
And it's awesome. It's taking you through Ephesians, and it's bringing in themes of Dr. Bob Schutz. Is that his last name?
Schutz?
Yeah.
I think it's Schutz.
His healing the whole person. And I really like it a lot. It's mixing it with Ephesians. And so I'm reading that in the Bible, and it's changing the game. We're like on week 9 out of 11. And so I recommend it. It's a lot of healing. It's really beautiful. It's good.
Awesome. I am glad to hear that because I remember announcing that at Mass some weeks ago and being like, think this looks pretty great.
Fearless and free, be those 2 things.
Sure hope it's good.
It's great.
Glad to hear it. Okay, so I am reading a book called Christ, the Soul of the Priest, or of the Priesthood. I forget. I think it's of the Priest. Christ, the Soul of the Priest, by Blessed Columba Marmion.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of him.
Irish priest who became a monk in Belgium at the monastery of Maritsu, where they make a certain like pretty cool beer.
Okay.
I can't drink beer. I've got like a beer allergy thing, intolerance.
Like to gluten or just
to barley.
Oh.
I figured it out because I ate a barley bowl a while ago for dinner and felt really bad, like I do when I have even a little bit of beer.
That's why you're a wine guy. I always thought that was from Italy.
Yeah, well, it kind of is too. I guess they go together. But
yeah.
So he's got 3 books. Christ, the Soul of the Christ, the Life of the Soul is the first one. Christ, the Life of the Monk, and Christ, the Life of the Priest. And they're all awesome. And I found out, like, I've read this one before, but I didn't read the introduction closely or something before. And I found out that he is that they actually just published this last one from his notes. Like he didn't get a chance to write it all down. And the way he would publish his books anyway was to like give a bunch of talks, develop his thought that way, and then sort of dictate note and like hand over his notes to one of the monks who would write it up.
I love that external processor like me.
Yeah.
I love that.
But this last one was published after he died. So like it took a long time to publish it actually, because everybody was like, this guy was, really great, saintly man, brilliant preacher, deep thinker, all these things. I don't feel like I can just take his notes and make a book that'll live up to the other ones. But then one of the monks who knew him really well, finally finished some of the duties that were keeping him back from working on this. And so they were all, anyway, it's wonderful. It's very just focused on Christ. And so I was reading that during the meals of my retreat.
Okay.
I tried not to do any like reading just to distract myself. That's a good principle on retreat. Mm-hmm. Obviously don't listen to podcasts or do anything like that on retreat. Mm-hmm. But it can also be easy just to be like, oh, I'm going to do spiritual reading. And then you're just reading to distract yourself from the silence, which is really like, that's where the good stuff happens, is challenging the silence. Mm-hmm. And so I only would read it while I was eating. And I had like a little stand and stuff to put the book on. It was great.
That's awesome.
I was eating like veggies and rice and stuff. Yeah, pretty basic.
Basic. Love it.
Anyway, so that was a long answer to what am I reading? What are you thinking, Marci?
Oh, I forgot we're doing what are we thinking?
Yeah, I know.
I am thinking that it's beautiful outside. That is what I'm thinking. That I'm loving the weather change, although it's bringing upon all these allergies. But I love it. It makes life with a baby easier, because then going outside is fun. During the summer, they want to go outside and it's really hot. So I'm really grateful for fall's my favorite, not to be basic. Did you know that's a basic quality? Do you know what basic means?
No.
Oh, great.
I do, but not how you're using it.
Right. Okay. Well, actually, you should guess. So if I said like, oh my gosh, that's so basic, what do you think that means?
I would think like that's so simple, like forget about it. It's not a big deal.
No. No.
Like in a pejorative sense.
Oh, I hear. Okay. Yes. Because maybe no. Well, so it's like things that are like really typical for like a typical type of person to like. So stereotypical. Yeah. Like I like fall and pumpkin spice lattes, and like that's whenever you're just like basic, or like I drink Starbucks. I don't know why these are all fall themed basic things, but there's things that are just that make you, it's like you're stereotypical. You're regular. You're not ordinary, or you're not unique.
Oh, okay.
You're basic.
So not basic to you. Not like these are like the qualities that make you.
Yeah, like I like Target.
You're generic.
Yeah, you're generic.
I love using generic like that.
Yeah. So now you can throw it out, being like, don't be basic.
Don't be so basic.
Yeah, you don't want to be basic. It's kind of a diss. But then some people lean into it, and I'll lean into it. I love fall.
I'm super basic, and it becomes like cool and hipster to be basic.
Yeah, I'm like reclaiming the name. I'm basic, and I love fall. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. What are you thinking?
Man, thinking how little I know about how people talk.
And everyone's done listening to the podcast. No one is here anymore.
No one is here. I am thinking that over the last 2 weeks, I learned for the first time how to jump a car battery, because my car battery started to die a few days before I went on retreat. I didn't have a chance to go in and get it fixed because I didn't know how long that'd take and all that. I didn't want to delay the retreat. And so I already had jumper cables. I got like a transformer thing that you can plug into the wall. And
just jumped your car until you
jumped my car. And so like everywhere I went on retreat, like kind of on the Oklahoma-Arkansas border. Okay. So it was a 4-something hour drive. And stopped and stayed with a friend in a different diocese on the way. And like pretty much every time I started my car, unless I had just turned it off, like at the gas station, I had to jump it. And so I jumped it a good 6 or so times. And there were all sorts of adventures in there.
Yeah.
Like I thought I had parked it close enough to an outlet to be able to use this thing where you hook it up to the AC outlet and it and then to the jumper cables, but the cord was super short and I didn't have an extension cord, which you're kind of not supposed to use on those anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like I was dodging red wasps. Okay, let me just tell you the full story. I know this is like Q&A, but
yeah.
but it's kind of a fun story because so at this place where I was, there were a bunch of red wasps.
Okay.
I have a bit of a phobia towards red wasps
from
when I was little. Well, they are scary just on their own.
Yeah.
But when I was little, when I was like 5 years old, I was in a little kiddie pool outside my house in Houston before we moved to Bermuda. And I remember my dad pulled home in the Toyota Camry, the daddy car, and I was so happy. I like got up out of the little kiddie pool to go walk over. It's just one of the inflatable ones you put. And I was going to walk over, and then I was like, what's that in my ear? And I grabbed it, little 5-year-old hands, and it was a red wasp. And I remember it like looking at me and then just sting on my thumb.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
so it just stung me a bunch of times on the thumb. My thumb swelled up and stuff. And I was, beside myself. And I couldn't play my computer game for a long time on the like basic computers. No, that just means simple.
Yeah.
That we had back then because this was in like 94 or something, 93. And there was this game where these gorillas would like throw explosive bananas across a city at each other, and you'd have to calculate the trajectory, and it was super pixelated.
Oh my gosh.
So basic. I know I'm misusing it, but and I couldn't play it well because I had my hurt thumb, and so that's been this like scarring experience just emotionally.
Yeah.
Where I do kind of get more afraid around stinging bugs like that. And so there was a porch. This is a long story, but this is what I'm thinking. There was a porch outside this little cabin where I was doing the retreat, and I would sit on the porch, and it was screened in, and I would look at these red wasps on the other side of the screen that just really liked being on the screen. And they didn't seem to care when I walked out of the screen or walked in. They were good. They were there. And so I was just going to live and let live.
Yeah. Detached.
Yeah.
Living
just kind of, facing my fears literally through the screen, and like killing the spiders that would get in. But because there were some crazy looking spiders.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, it was fun.
That's a boy retreat. I would hate that.
Yeah, very much so. I had my boots, so I could just stomp on them. So I remember I remember it was just last week, but last week on the second to last day, the evening before I left, I was just walking around in the yard. The sun was starting to set. It was beautiful. It rained the whole time until like that afternoon. It was really nice. And so I was just kind of walking around out there. I was wearing this hoodie with the hood not on, just laying over my shoulders. And then this red wasp swooped down into the hood. And I was like, what is that? And reached behind me and flicked it a couple times, and it stung me twice on like the edge of my fingernail, on my middle finger on my left hand.
Same story.
And yeah, it did. It even drew blood with one of them. And I remember thinking like, son of a gun, that really hurts. And then like, actually it doesn't hurt that bad compared to what I built it up in my mind.
Right.
But like, that's legit hurt. I don't want that to happen again, but I'm not so afraid of it. And then like waiting as the pain went away, and then the numbness set in, and then the pain like traveled down to my knuckle, and it felt like I had arthritis in my knuckle for like 2 days, I think from the swelling.
Yeah.
So that's all to say, build up for the next morning when I'm ready to leave. I know I'm going to probably have to jump my car because I haven't started in like 5 days, and there's no way that the battery kept. But I'm ready because I parked up in a spot where I think I can reach. I walk over to my car. Okay, first of all, I could only open the front door. There was so little battery. Like the other doors wouldn't even open.
Unlock? Oh, gosh.
Although I guess I could have unlocked it from the inside. I just realized that now. So I can only open the front door, which is good to be able to get the hood up. And there was a red wasp on the right wheel of the front right wheel, the front left wheel, and like on one of the back windows. Like there were 3 red wasps on my car
Waiting for you.
waiting for me.
Yeah.
And then there was another like random yellow jacket or something flying around. I stomped on him eventually because he foolishly landed on the grass. Got St. Francis coming up in a couple days, October 2nd. But
yeah, get your
I
bumblebees.
am not St. Francis. And then so I was like, okay, gonna make this happen. And it turns out I was like a foot short from reaching to the plug.
Uh-huh.
And so I put my car in neutral and tried to push it. And it's like, this is uphill. This is way too heavy. Push this car. And so I'm like, I'm actually just stranded. I thought I'd prepared. Dang it. Detachment again. Humility again. I had to call the people in the house, and they were like, well, maybe this person, but we don't know how long it's going to be. And I'm just like, oh. So I'm sitting around there trying not to get stung by these wasps. And then it hits me. There's a window next to the door. And so I opened up the window, fed the cable through that, and it cut off almost enough. And I was just like an inch short of the plug. And so I had to stack all these boxes up and put the transformer on that. And then I finally got it just barely to where I was able to connect both ends, one to the plug and the other two to the battery and to ground it on the engine. And I got the thing started, and then I could open all the doors and get it packed up.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't even pack it up. Oh, my God.
Get out of there. And I was like, yes, take that, wasps. Take that battery. Take that everything. So that's what I'm thinking. That was like a 10-minute reflection. What are you thinking?
Why did we even plan questions? And outro.
So, and we're done. All right. We do have time for a couple. Maybe. Let's say we've got 3 questions. We can just take what we got.
Okay. Fire.
So I've been talking for a while. Marci, here's a question for you.
Great.
Do you? Sorry, I'm like stepping on the cord for my headphones. Joey, we need your back.
Yeah, Joey, everything. Can you just come on? Nikki's got it. We are struggling.
So, Marci.
Yes.
Do you find it hard to work for the church with a family?
I
think question. This is like a really pertinent question for a lot of Catholics who have families or who want to have a family and who like find themselves led down this path of like, I really want to be close to God in the things that I do for work, and that means working for a church. Mm-hmm. But it is easy. Hard. It's great. It's the best.
Super easy. Next question. It's actually not that hard.
Tons of money. Hours
wealthy.
Are great.
Super cool hours. No, yes, it is hard. I got hired here the month that I got married. Which was 2 years ago. So we in April, and we when we were just married, it was obviously a lot easier because it's a lot of nights. I say that working for the church, we're in a service industry more or less. We have to put on ministry and things for the people when they're outside of work hours. So we're here 9 to 5, but then like anything we do of service is outside of 9 to 5. So it was kind of easier, and we lived across the street from the church. Now that we have a baby, we live further away, and it was hard. Last year before we started quarantine, it was really difficult. That helped drive my discernment to take a step back in hours. I'm now semi-part-time.
Semi-part-time. Is it different from part-time?
Yeah, I'm 30 hours. Like part-time's 20 hours.
I don't understand how these things work.
Yeah, right. It's just priests.
My work is my life, is my vocation.
Yeah, normal jobs are 40 hours a week. Mine's 30, half-time, part-time, so 20.
Semi-part-time.
Yeah, I don't think that's the right words, but that's what I call it. So, but it's nice that it makes such a difference that I'm not working evenings because Jordan was putting Lucy to bed Wednesdays and Sundays, and then anything else, if I did anything else with teens or core members, it was an additional night of the week, and I think that weighed heavy on him. So it is difficult. And then that's not even Sundays. I mean, talk about keep holy the Sabbath. It is really hard when you're just full on working. I mean, as a youth minister, we have a 4:30 youth mass. And so we would come to work around 1 or 2, set up, do all the prep for the night, and then we would go to mass. I mean, I was about to put that in air quotes. We would go to mass. Go to mass. But it felt super like sometimes I would be running through the night sitting at Mass, and especially when we had a baby, because Jordan's been with her all day. And so like I would sit down and try to have her. And then, I mean, it was really difficult to listen to Mass. We talked about, do we need to go to a second one? Because, and you're kind of working, like we have aspects in the 4:30 Mass. The teens participate and they're ushers and they're bringing up the gifts. I mean, they used to. And so there was aspects that you were on all the time. Mm-hmm. And then during communion, I mean, I would try to enter in, but really I'm thinking like, okay, we're about to start. It's about to get going. I got to run over there.
Have to say this, get this thing. Oh no, I forgot this thing.
Yeah. Do I have to run back to my office? So that's where it gets tricky. And I'm still trying to balance that. I mean, I still work on Sundays or work a Mass, and it's difficult. Yeah. It's really difficult too, especially when we preach so much to the kids about how are you keeping your Sabbath day holy. And sometimes I'm very sad that I'm like, how are we still doing that? Mm-hmm. What's our Sabbath?
Yeah.
It's hard.
So, okay.
Not impossible. It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me summarize that. Probably shouldn't work for the church because
no, work for the church. It's great.
No, please do. Please do. It's great. But it does involve a particular kind of sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And
a discipline, I think, to your faith, and to your family. Like, I mean, everyone, obviously you have to be disciplined to your family and to your faith, but sometimes I can get caught up. This is not the question, but you can get caught up in talking about Jesus, planning stuff about Jesus, talking about the Holy Spirit and being like, I didn't pray today, but I mean, I read scripture and like planned programming. So to remember to be disciplined to that personal relationship.
Those are a lot, just to jump in, those are a lot of the same challenges actually that you have in seminary and as a priest.
Yeah,
like it's
I would see that.
Very, very sort of different specifics, but very parallel track. Like how do I, pray when I'm doing these most holy things, but I know that there are very like actionable items that I have to do and can't forget about. Or if you're an altar server serving Mass, like you're thinking about what you have to do next, and then you're like, but I should be up here praying, but I want to do it well so that others can pray. Mm-hmm. And then
it's a service. We're a service industry.
It's a service.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's really interesting to hear, because like, so here's the thing, like on the one hand, it would kind of make sense, right? If we were like, well, we want to take this really seriously. And so that means like, we're going to take the commandment to keep the Sabbath day holy, to remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. Okay, I haven't said Hebrew in a while, so Lizkoret Yom HaShabbat Lekodsho. If we were going to take that really seriously, it would be like staff, like everybody, stay home. There's no way we're going to give you any work. But then it's like, okay, if we're taking the commandment seriously to go forth and to spread the gospel and to make disciples, then it's like Sunday is our biggest day to do the Lord's work. And so that's where I think like this is a category that's easier to see with priesthood, but I think also very applicable to like those who work in ministry, who work for the church, that like even in the Old Testament, there is like a separate tribe called the Levites, who are set apart and who have to do things on the Sabbath, who have to minister in the temple, who are the ones to do the Sabbath sacrifices, and the laws of the Sabbath don't apply to them in the same way. The spirit of it does, right? But the specifics can't.
Yeah.
Because then you can have no sacrifice on the Sabbath day.
Right.
And so like, I don't know if that's helpful to hear in terms of like any interior conflict, but it doesn't mean that like, this is my work, I don't need to pray. It means that like, no, we're called to something that's even harder.
Right. Yeah. No, that's comforting for sure.
To work and to pray at the same time, and to prepare ourselves well. This is where the Sabbath really comes into play, because the Sabbath is all about preparing for it,
right,
so that you can enter into it.
Right.
We have to, prepare ourselves well enough so that we can do the things we need to serve the people of God and pray, and recognize that like from our prayer comes our best service. Like, even the best service without a spirit of prayer behind it is ineffective. The soul of the apostolate is prayer and contemplation.
Yeah, so no last minute planning.
But sometimes you have to, right?
No, yeah.
So, like,
right.
I'm just saying, like, this is what you strive for.
Yes.
Because this is the ideal.
Yeah.
It's good. Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Have we been talking for an hour? Great. No.
Yeah, I think we are.
Do the question to you. There was a question for you.
Okay, the tabernacle one?
Yeah,
all right.
I think that's good.
So, from Jacob.
Yes.
C.
My brother-in-law. Shout out.
He had a question that we have some time to treat kind of briefly. It's like going to different churches. Sometimes you have to play hide and go seek, or just like find the tabernacle, just seek. Like, where is the tabernacle? Where is Jesus there? And sometimes you see something that might be a tabernacle, but there's not a lamp next to it, like the red sanctuary lamp. And so you're like, is anybody home? I don't know.
Right.
Like, what's the deal with that is basically the question, or what is the ideal? Might be more at the heart of the question. I will say that, like, okay, sometime, I don't know, how do you even start? I think that the best is to have the tabernacle behind the altar in the main church, because otherwise you don't use the main church and you use the chapel. I think there's something really good, even if it's not always convenient or practical, about being in the main church when you're doing also personal prayer. I've experienced that a lot in Rome at different churches. Some churches in our Diocese of Dallas are like that. Other dioceses I've been to, there's something really good about being in the main church for your personal prayer that also affects the way you go to Mass there later.
Right.
It's not just the place you go on Sunday. It's the place I come to adoration to as well.
Yeah.
And so the place I go to confession to as well.
Yeah. For people that don't go to St. Anne's, the tabernacle is in our chapel, not in our main church. So second question, Joey's going to hate us. He hates long podcasts. He hates when we tangent. But my next question is, do you think St. Anne's would ever move the tabernacle to the main sanctuary?
I don't know. I think we could. I think that there are ways architecturally that we could, and we could make it beautiful. I wonder if sort of compromise position, which I've seen in like big basilicas, and I think we can consider St. Anne, even though it's not a basilica.
Heard it here. It's a basilica.
That's right. That there is something basilica-like about this place. It's a big church. If you've never been here, it's a big church, and we have a beautiful side chapel, which kind of is connected to the narthex of the main church, and like really gorgeous. It's a great place for daily Mass and daily prayer, and I think it does accomplish that thing that I was talking about, because it's right next to the main church in a very sort of connected way.
And you always pass it entering, unless you come in from the transepts. But I also like that you do get to pass it entering.
So, but there is, what I've seen in some Roman basilicas and big churches in Rome, is that they'll have a tabernacle behind the main altar, and then they'll also have a tabernacle at a side altar. And during the week, when they just have a few people coming to daily Mass, they'll move the Blessed Sacrament over to the side altar, and they'll light the candle there, so everybody knows.
Yeah.
But on Sunday, they'll move the Blessed Sacrament to the tabernacle behind the main altar, so that like you're all facing the Eucharistic Lord in the tabernacle, even when you're praying before Mass, or when you're staying to make a prayer of thanksgiving after Mass, or if you're just like want to be in the church on a Sunday praying.
Yeah.
And I think that that could be a really good option for us down the road. I do not make these decisions.
I do. I am the coordinator
Marci
of digital
does,
media.
However.
And
So,
we're changing it now.
You heard it here. Okay, that wasn't too bad of a tangent.
No, that's good.
Yeah. All right.
We're great.
So, how do we end this thing?
Just with affirmations. You're great.
Am I forgetting anything this
I don't
time?
think so. I don't think we just end it.
Okay, I'm going to play the outro music right there. Okay. So thank you all for listening. If you have some questions, you can submit them to us at our email address and on our website. I do not remember what those are.
Prodigal the Priest @gmail.com, stpannparish.org.
Okay, thank you,
God bless.